July 12th, 1998. Paris, the World Cup Final. More than 1 billion people were preparing to watch the biggest football match on earth. And at the centre of it all was Ronaldo, 21 years old, already the most feared striker in world football. The player they called the phenomenon, fast, explosive, unstoppable. For many fans, he wasn't just the best player in the world, he was football's future. But just hours before kickoff, something happened. Something that would become one of football's greatest mysteries. To understand the mystery, we first need to understand the man. By 1998, Ronaldo's rise had been extraordinary. Born in Rio de Janeiro and raised far from luxury, he possessed something that couldn't be taught: speed, balance, instinct. From a young age, it was obvious he was different. Defenders couldn't catch him, coaches couldn't believe him, and fans couldn't stop talking about him. When he arrived in Europe, the hype only grew. At PS5 Eindhoven, he exploded onto the scene. At Barcelona, he became a global sensation. And at Inter Milan, he became the most famous footballer on the planet. Every week seemed to produce another impossible goal, another defender left behind, another headline. Many believed they were witnessing the next Pelé, perhaps even something greater. Then came France, 1998. Brazil arrived carrying enormous expectations. They were the defending world champions, the favourites, and the team everyone expected to beat. At the heart of everything was Ronaldo. The tournament wasn't perfect, but Brazil kept moving forward, one match at a time, one victory at a time, until only one obstacle remained. France, the host nation, 90 minutes from immortality. Paris was ready. The world was ready. Television crews filled the city. Journalists arrived from every corner of the globe. The Stade de France stood waiting. Everything pointed towards one unforgettable night. But while millions of fans dreamed about the final, a very different drama was unfolding behind closed doors. Inside Brazil's team hotel, the atmosphere suddenly changed. What should have been a calm day became something else entirely. Confusion, concern, fear. According to numerous accounts, Ronaldo suffered a medical emergency. Players rushed towards him. Staff members panicked. Doctors were called immediately. Some witnesses later described scenes of chaos. Others recalled moments of genuine terror. But everyone agreed on one thing: something was very wrong. As the hours passed, information became increasingly difficult to trust. Different people told different stories. Different reports described different events. Some believed Ronaldo had suffered a seizure. Others questioned whether that description was accurate. Rumours spread quickly. Facts became harder to find. And with every passing minute, the mystery grew. Meanwhile, outside the hotel, the world knew almost nothing. Fans were preparing for the final. Television stations were discussing tactics. Newspapers were predicting lineups. Nobody realised that the biggest story of the World Cup was already unfolding. Then the first leaks began to emerge. Journalists started hearing rumours. Something had happened to Ronaldo. Nobody knew exactly what, but the whispers were growing louder. Would he play? Was he injured? Was he ill? Had he been taken to hospital? Questions multiplied. Answers remained scarce. The closer the match approached, the stranger the situation became. Then came one of the most bizarre moments in World Cup history. Brazil's official team sheet was released, and Ronaldo's name was missing. The best player in the world. Gone. Removed from the starting 11. For journalists, it was shocking. For fans, it was unbelievable. For Brazil, it was terrifying. Suddenly, the World Cup final no longer felt like the biggest story. Ronaldo had become the story. Television networks reacted immediately. Commentators searched for explanations. Reporters rushed to gather information. Nobody seemed to know what was happening. And perhaps the most alarming thing of all was the silence. No clear explanation. No detailed statement. No certainty. Only confusion. Then, just as quickly as the story exploded, everything changed again. A new team sheet appeared, and Ronaldo was back. Back in the starting lineup. Back in the final. Back in the centre of football's biggest stage. The world was stunned. Hours earlier, he had reportedly suffered a serious medical emergency. Now, he was expected to play. No detailed explanation. No real clarity. Just more questions and more uncertainty. As the players prepared to leave for the stadium, millions of people around the world were asking the same question. What happened to Ronaldo? And more importantly, should he really be playing? The answers would remain hidden. The mystery would deepen. And what happened next would become one of football's most controversial stories.
If this story stayed with you, there are many more legends waiting to be told. Subscribe to Chronicles of Legacy Football, ring the bell, and let the next chapter find you.